All right, this one's going to be a little bit different. This is actually an hors d'oeuvre, a stuffed black olive hors d'oeuvre that I had a neighbor back in the 60s and through the 70s. He's gone. He was, but he was from Malta, and he told me that he used to make these. It was really good. I always liked it. And he said a Portuguese friend gave him the recipe how to do it. So a lot of people watching this video are probably going to be like, oh, nope, not doing that one because it's anchovies. So anyway, what it is, it's black olives stuffed with anchovies. And I was going to do that, but instead last night I made I had a little bit of pizza dough left over. So I made a real tiny little rustic bread, and it's good, a little dense, a little hard. But I'm going to make that same recipe, except I'm going to make it into a spread and spread it on this piece of rustic bread and see how it works. I've never done it that way before. I always stuff the olives, but let's see, maybe it'll be good. I don't know. We'll find out. All right, so what I got here is some sliced French bread, and you don't use the crust when you make this recipe. You just use the white part of the bread. And generally you use white bread, just the inner part, and you don't use the crust. But I'm going to use this French bread because I don't want it to go stale. And it might taste pretty good. And then normally when you make this, you do it in a bowl and you mix it all by hand. This, I'm going to whiz it around in this little baby food processor I got here. And we'll see how this turns out. Like I said, I've never done this. I've made stuffed olives a million times, but I've never made it a spread to put on rustic bread. So this is an experiment. So the only thing that's in this whole recipe is you would stuff, them colossal or gigantic pitted black olives, some white bread. Usually if it's 1 can of anchovies, it's two slices, sometimes 3, it depends, but generally 2 slices of just white bread, and you cut the crust off. Garlic powder, parsley, and olive oil. And you can use the oil. This particular brand says impure, flat anchovies, impure olive oil, but it might make it a little bit too over the top fishy. So I think I'm going to drain this oil, and I'll use just regular fresh olive oil and see how that goes. For some reason, a lot of people have an aversion to anchovies, maybe because it's such salty little fish, but I think I don't know. I think it's more I don't know, something attached to it that people are like, oh no, I'm not eating that. But I remember, back in the 60s and 70s, anchovies were really popular. People used to cook with them and eat them and do all sorts of things. They make these really nice, you used to find them in the supermarket. I haven't seen them in a long time. But they're anchovies wrapped up around a caper, and you just eat them, and boy, were they good. All right, since I never did it this way, I'm just kind of winging it. So I'm not sure which order to put the stuff in. So I put in the bread and the anchovies, and here is the garlic powder. And then here is the parsley, and you use quite a bit of parsley. Of course, if you have the broadleaf, the Italian style fresh parsley, that's always the best. But it's winter and I don't have a inside herb garden, so I don't have any. So let's see. Let me whiz this around for a second and then I'll put the olives in. Definitely needs more oil, that's for sure. These are leftover olives from I made some calzones the other day. And so I had some leftover olives. I filmed it. I don't know if the video is going to come out or if it'll ever go online. But the calzones tasted great. Now, if you were gonna pack this into the olives, obviously you wouldn't be chopping up the olives, but otherwise the consistency would be just like this. Kind of not pasty at all. Not dry, but not pasty. And then you would, you'd sit there and you'd just hand stuff the olives. Maybe I should do that in a video one day, but like I said, a lot of people don't like anchovies anymore. I do. I want this a little bit more like a spread, so I could spread it on that rustic bread like I showed you a minute ago. That's definitely pasty. Wow. That is good. I don't think I'm going to add anything else. I think that one's staying just the way it is. All right. Let's give this a try. Oh, this is pretty exciting. Something's working pretty good. Let me get a piece of this bread. That was that rustic bread that I made last night. All right. Here we go. There it is. Here we go. That is excellent. Anyway, that's that one.